You've probably met some ambitious people, or maybe you're one of them. The one that people call selfish, distant, too focused, but they never stop to ask why. Because the truth is, you're not pulling away, you're choosing yourself. And for some reason, that makes people uncomfortable. We're taught ambition should look a certain way: loud, bold, obvious, something people can point to and understand. But that's not the only version. Sometimes ambition is quiet, it's discipline, it's saying no, it's outgrowing spaces that once felt like home. It's doing the work when no one's watching and not needing them to. Imagine being 15, already finished with high school, while everyone else is caught up in the moments that feel big at the time. You're thinking bigger, creating, building, writing, 2 books before most people even know where to start. That kind of focus, it doesn't always look exciting from the outside. It looks like distance, like detachment, but it's not. It's clarity. And one day, everything they misunderstood about you will be the very thing that sets you apart. Welcome to another episode of She's Probably Talking to Other Guys. I'm your host, Annie, and I'm so excited for you to tune in to this episode with our special guest, Rylin Rossano. Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior. This is a judgment-free assumption checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Today is all about ambition, and I'm talking with someone who is one of the most ambitious women that I am lucky to have had the pleasure to meet. Rylin graduated high school at 15. She's a 2-time author. She built incredible things behind the scenes, while most people didn't even notice. Today, we're talking about all the ways women can be ambitious, how ambition is misunderstood, and why owning your style, whatever it looks like, is everything. Welcome, Rylin. I'm so excited to be filming another episode with you.
Hi, I'm glad you're not sick of me yet.
I don't think that I could get sick of you, to be honest. Like, you're part of my world now, which kind of means that, I don't really think that I could get sick of you.
Honored to be a part of your world, and I love you and I love recording with you, so I'm happy to be here. And thank you for the very, very nice compliment. I think ambition is in my bloodstreams. That and the coffee, that's how I function.
That's true. You do get, is it a daily Starbucks? Is that what's
Daily.
happening? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I'm just
great.
a girl.
Is there anything I missed in your introduction that you want people to know?
Um, I mean, no, I'm 19 now. I'm in my master's for psychology. I'm running my podcast, Take Care of Your Body by Rye, and I'm also an author, so I'm doing all of that crazy stuff while I'm in school, which is very ambitious of me to do. And I love Annie. You forgot to say that.
I did forget to say that. My gosh.
Annie's biggest fan, actually. So, yeah,
Thank you.
of
So,
course.
if we dive back, because in other episodes where we've chatted together or on our podcast with Karen Chaos, we never really dove into what it was like for graduating high school at 15. So, from your perspective, and again, that's very ambitious, did
Thank
you think that while you were going through that process, like, wow, I'm ambitious, or was it something that kind of hit you later on?
Honestly, it was something that really hit me up later on. I'll give everyone a little bit of a backstory. I'll try not to yap too much, but you know me. So essentially, growing up, I had really bad chronic asthma, and here in Florida, mold and mildew, that was my asthma triggers. It's everywhere. It's abundantly present in schools. So to go to school, I had to take like so much medication, and I was extremely sick, and I would miss a lot of school even while on the medication. I was in and out of the hospital so much, and when COVID-19 the pandemic hit, I decided I can't go back to school that way. I feel so much better at home. I became a yoga instructor. I really got into my health and I realized like I can't go back. That is not the life I want to live. So I realized, you know what? I'm going to rewrite the story for myself. And I ended up taking extra online classes through FLVS. So that's normal Florida virtual school while doing my virtual classes with my public school that was virtual at the time. And I just started creating this dream life for myself. And during it, I just was knocking out classes, thinking it was normal when kids my age were playing video games and being dumb. Um, so I was like this little business baddie with my Starbucks, and I was knocking out classes like left and right. And I did not think I was being ambitious. I just thought I was being Rylan.
That's so cute. I love that. You're just being Rylan.
I was just being Rylan.
Do you think that maybe people considered you distant because you were so far ahead of them? And I ask because a lot of ambitious women tend to kind of get labeled with the phrase distant or the word distant, not because we're like disconnected to reality, but sometimes I think we're just so focused on our goals and what we're going after, we just don't spend our free time the same way that other people do. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. And yes, so I ended up going back to school at 15, and instead of being a ninth grader, I was a senior, and I was in a lot of different classes, like because my requirements were so weird, the ones I had left, and I was with some juniors and then some seniors, and then like I had a study hall with kids my own age. Oh my God, that was horrible, Annie, I swear. And especially in that study hall, I just remember, working on my goals and what I was doing, and I was hearing the chatter about the drama and the gossip and the whatever, and I just was like in my head, like, I am so emotionally far ahead of these people. And it really goes back to the thing I say, if it won't matter in 5 years, I'm not going to give it 5 minutes. I think I've been implementing that throughout my life for a while, because I just remember sitting there like, why are we talking about drinking and stupid stuff that's not going to matter in 5 years when we're in our careers and building our lives? And I just was on the computer, and I think those kids were like, well, some of them were jealous. I know they were. And I can touch on that a little bit, but they were jealous and were looking at me like, she's weird. What is she doing? Like, why is she different from the rest of us? And I just remember like being not isolated, but being in my own little bubble, to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do my thing and go home and get out of here. And I had my sister there, thankfully. I would not have survived high school without her, but I ended up graduating with her. She was a little bit mad about that though. Which is kind of funny. But she was salutatorian, so I got to like sit in the seat she would have sat in if she wasn't. So it ended up being special. But I had her there, and I had teachers that were very supportive of me because they saw where I was going. And while the kids might have called me distant or different or whatever, I knew what mattered. And again, sometimes we're not the problem, we're just in the wrong room.
If you were to give a message to, I'm sure the listeners who are tuning in who feel the same, or maybe they're in a situation like you where they are graduating early, or just maybe somewhere where they can tell that they don't quite fit in because of their ambition, what message would you give them?
Focus on your own timeline and know there's nothing wrong with that. I think I even talk about this in my first book, Once Upon a Time I Survived Myself. I think the problem with life, and I'm still getting better at this, is we all compare ourselves to other people when really we're creating our own paths, and it doesn't have to look like the typical path that the person next to you is walking. And we're all wearing different shoes. So if it's not the same, that's okay. We're going to different places. So I think be kind, be compassionate to yourself, and remember, like, just because someone doesn't understand why you're doing something doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that it's different from what they're doing, and that's absolutely okay.
I love that. That was beautiful. Everyone, I hope you're taking notes.
And make coffee, because graduating early isn't for the weak.
There you go. So if we move into, we're going to discuss us for a second
Ooh.
because we have very contrasting personalities and contrasting styles. And we managed to come together as two ambitious women who have gone far in completely different life paths. All right. So you are your two-time author. You graduated early. You keep expanding different projects that you do. I'm professional ballroom dancer, like everything creative in my life. I mean, that's what my life revolves around. I'm a content creator. I have my own business, a blogger, dance teacher. Everything is so creative, just
My spirit
constantly.
animal.
Rylan's spirit animal. Um, and I think when we came together for our podcast with Care and Chaos, the whole concept is how different we are. including our age gap as well. And you're the care, I'm the chaos. So the reason why we're going to talk about this for a second is because being ambitious, I don't believe anyway, and I think you'll agree, has nothing to do with your personality. It doesn't have anything to do with, if you're on the quiet side, if you're on the louder side, introvert, extrovert. I feel like being ambitious is just something that I don't want to say like you're born with, but I think that it's something where you kind of can't help it if you're ambitious. Like you just want to keep going and keep doing things. Like, I admit that I am guilty of being someone where I reach one goal, I kind of check the box. I don't always take time to celebrate. I'm kind of already on to the next thing. So, if you describe like how you feel about being ambitious or how you kind of discovered that that is a word you could describe yourself with, what's kind of your journey of discovery?
I honestly think like ambition isn't a one size fits all because you're right. Like I've endured like the quiet persona of rylin, but even though I was quiet, I was working on my computer and working on projects that people didn't know even would exist at that time. And then I've experienced the more louder, like vibrant rylin that's ambitious, going into Starbucks and letting everyone know her book just came out and, sharing her projects proudly. And I think you're right. Like it's a transformative, that's my word, transformative process. It's not going to look the same every stage of your life, and that's okay. I think as we grow and change and become more us, our ambition will always come with us, but I think it will shape whatever, you know, abilities and capabilities and personality we are embodying at the time. So I agree with you 1,000%, but I think it's very transformative.
That's a good word
Yeah.
to describe it. I agree with you. I like how you describe it with the word transformative.
Like a little butterfly, like a caterpillar, and then you have well, no, you have the cocoon, and then you have the caterpillar, and then you got the butterfly.
Thank you very much for explaining that.
Oh gosh.
I
I'm
feel
giving
like I
you
went
a
all the
little
way
life
back.
science
You were
moment.
like, wait, no, there's a cocoon first. Let me point
I'm a science girly at heart, so I had to, bring us all back to seventh grade life science real quick.
I feel like maybe that's something we didn't know we had in common. I don't know if we talked about it. I am a science girly too, but not the same way. I'm all about anatomy. I feel like it's related to dancing because I can explain things 10 times better when I know like what's actually
Going on.
moving or what you're supposed to be moving. So yeah, I didn't have to take my science final in high school and everyone else did. So I got to peace out early because I did really good in anatomy.
Well, you should. That's so funny. You're probably like, yeah, so you can't do this pose because you're not moving that bone correctly.
It seriously helps to know there's like so
It
many pieces just to, figure out how to help people do things a little bit easier.
really does.
When it comes to some assumptions
Ooh,
about being ambitious, so I want you to take these assumptions, which 9 times out of 10, we already kind of have an idea that they're wrong. But I want you to take these assumptions, knock them down, talk about them, pick them apart, whatever you feel inclined to do. All
great.
right.
I'm ready.
So when people think of ambition or ambitious people, they say she's distant because she doesn't care.
Ew. That's my first thing there because I think again, like anything in life, you need to communicate. If you have a really ambitious baddie in your life and she's quiet or, maybe she has a lot going on, you can't assume something about someone because my mom always said, when you assume something, you make an ass out of you and me. And that is so beyond true because assuming that someone is distant because they're ambitious is like assuming like someone's mad at you when they're not replying for a day. And I think, we all have a lot going on, and being a human is already busy, and being ambitious on top of that, it's like we're really focused on our projects and our things. And sometimes we're in that bubble of thinking, like, oh, I have to do this for my brand, and this for my podcast, and this for my project today. And then you realize you have like 20 texts from your favorite person or an email to reply to, and then you have to leave the business bubble and go respond to that. So I think assuming that is not my favorite thing. Communicate with the ambitious person you have in your life and be like, look, like, are you being distant with me, or is this just everything kind of going on and this is how you kind of cope with things? So that's my philosophy there. Communicate, please. It's very important.
Communication is so important, and I think
Yeah.
that that's probably a topic that everyone can discuss over and over because no matter how much people discuss communication, there are always some people who are just not going to get better at communicating.
No, it's so true. I think we have a new episode for our podcast now.
I think we do. Yes, definitely. Up next, she's selfish for putting herself first.
Whew, I don't like that because I feel like usually the people who say that are selfish because, like, Annie, I'm gonna be so for real with you. Something that really bothers me, and like this has happened to me quite recently, is people who think they deserve your time just because you're talking to them. And I think like it's like over time you have to really get to know someone for me to put you up here. Like I'm not gonna if you want to FaceTime me and I'm gonna sleep, this is literally based on real events. If you want to FaceTime me and I'm going to sleep, I'm gonna sleep. And then I will tell you, sorry, I slept, let me call you back. And if you block me in between the time period of me sleeping and you wanting to FaceTime, I'm going to get upset because you don't own that power over me. You know what I mean? So it's like I think people need to realize like, and I feel like I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's like time and place, and everyone has a certain priority, and it's like I'm going to prioritize my business and my brand before another person because people leave. What I'm building with my career is not going to go anywhere, and that is something I find comfort in, like knowing if someone ghosts me, if someone leaves, if someone doesn't want to be in a relationship, friendship, or whatever with me. I have books and a podcast that aren't going anywhere, and no one can take that from me. And I think people need to realize. Same thing with school. It's like school, you got to get your priorities straight. School, your career, and then, Joe from next door, whatever it might be. You know what I mean? And people need to realize that. I think we as humans are selfish for expecting someone to push everything they have going on for them to the side and prioritize us first. I'm like, absolutely not. I got to see you over time. I got to see if you're someone that's important enough for me to do that. Because if you're just going to be weird and controlling, I don't want to put you over my business and brand. That will take me a lot further than your weird energy.
I am in favor of your tangent. Thank you for going off on that.
Thank you. No, I will be telling you about this situation privately because what the hell?
It's okay. It's all good. We can totally turn this off after and continue chatting.
Oh my
Maybe you
God.
just have to tune into our podcast with Karen Chaos every other Sunday, and maybe you'll get to hear about it too.
I'm gonna have to hold it for that. I don't know if you can sleep without knowing though.
The next one is she's lucky, not talented.
There's a song by Taylor Swift. It's called The Lucky One. And I think like that song really paints how people think like fame or anything, successful or, amazing and glittery is handed to you. And I think Sabrina Carpenter actually just said something that I was watching before I tuned into this. And it's like sometimes you have to really be the tortoise in the tortoise and the hare. And, you're not going to blow up overnight, but it's building a small foundation that will really lead you somewhere versus, blowing up maybe when you're not in the growth stage. And I think it's not really about being lucky because anyone can do what I'm doing or what you're doing, Annie. I think the thing is, people that one judge us are sitting on their couch too scared to do it. So it's like you have to really look in the mirror and realize, like, what kind of life do you want? And if you want something, you have to work for it. It's not about being lucky, it's about being hardworking enough to achieve your goals and working for them. Nothing in life comes easy, and nothing good in life comes easy.
It's true. And this is, I think, kind of related to I did the episode on, assumptions about people being overnight success. That was something where a lot of, and I think social media is just such a prime example for it. You go on, you see that someone has 1 million followers, and you're like, oh, that doesn't matter. That just happened for them. That was luck. They had one video that went off, and I think social media is distorted in that way, and then it starts to encourage assumptions in real life about things as well. So I agree with you on this assumption. I think it is a load of BS.
Really is. No, it really is. And like, I need to stop myself from doing that because I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm still in the early stages of building my Instagrams and, posting the way I want to post. And I'm not going to blow up overnight. Like, I need to meet with myself with reality there. And I shouldn't be comparing myself to someone who's on a 12-year Instagram journey of, connecting with people. And then again, like, what kind of people do you want to be connecting with? Do you want to buy Instagram followers or do you want to have a real community that will grow with you? You know?
That's very true. Very true.
I'm just like, I feel like I'm just calling everyone out. I swear, guys, I'm not like, trying to like make you all. I'm like, it's boot camp with Rylin, actually.
It's gonna be like Mean Girls. Do you feel personally victimized by Rylin Rossano? Raise your hand.
I'm gonna be getting like some reviews on my book. This girl's
My little Regina George. I'm just kidding.
I'm blonde too, so I'm
I do feel like I want to go watch that late. I might watch Mean Girls tonight now, just because now it's in my head and it's such an
you have
epic
to.
movie. I
No,
do
you have
love
to
it so much.
stop.
Okay, last one, which if anyone wants to go back to season one of She's Probably Talking to Other Guys, Rylan and I had a little discussion on this the first time we chatted. She's too young to know what she's doing. I'm sorry, I know that one's gonna hurt a little bit, but breathe.
I'm meditating.
Knock it down, knock it down.
Here we go. I'm ready. I think, again, like going back to what I said, just because you're young doesn't mean shit. Like, sorry for cussing, but I know you're happily fond of that here. I think like people treat age like experience, and there's a lot of situations, especially in my life. And if you read my book, if you're listening to this, I've been through a lot, and I feel like that makes me more emotionally mature than someone who's had things handed to them, or maybe haven't had, fortunately haven't had to endure emotional pain and situational pain, etc. I think experience can really shape you and mature you more than just living life by typical years. I think we see it all over the media. We have really young stars, Olivia Rodrigo, she's only like 22. Sabrina Carpenter, even. There's so many young YouTubers, young celebrities that are absolutely incredible and are young. And it's like, why are you going to invalidate someone just because of their age? I think age is just a number in some cases if it's safe. But age is truly just a number and it shouldn't define how successful someone is because there's so many incredible people that are successful that are young, and just being young and successful, yeah, it means you're going to be emotional and have to cry to Annie because you're stressed and sad and you're also hormonal. But it also means you have more time and you get to start building early. And I think that's really beautiful. And when you realize that there's only so much more you can do, the possibilities are endless. It's absolutely incredible to put your mind to something and use your time more productively than being on Call of Duty every 5 minutes or whatever video games they play. See, I don't even know. I'm like 30 emotionally, but that's not the point. Um, you know, use your time productively. It's only gonna benefit you in the future and prepare you to soar even more heights. So age is just a number, and if someone tells you otherwise, they can go F off. Literally, fun little story. I had a two men actually. Of course, we're always gonna blame a man. Literally, I sat down with them. I was like, I want to publish my book. They told me that I was too young and they weren't going to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. And I created my own publishing company that's an LLC now. And I published not only one, but two books. And imagine I let that stop me. Absolutely not. Don't let anything stop you, especially your age, because it's really shitty when someone tells you that you're too young and that's something that you can't change. And it's like a prison almost if you live within that guideline because you're going to have that in the back of your mind while you try and be successful. So, for anyone listening, age is just a number. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something because of your age. That is absolute BS. And if you need proof, she's right here.
I feel like everyone needs to go watch Legally Blonde now because everything you just said, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Elle Wood.
Literally. Like I'm Elle Woods actually, but author version.
And Pixar is I don't remember the dog's name in the
It's sad.
movie.
You Google it. Brewster. It's Brewster.
Yes. Oh, okay. 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 Yes. 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 Okay. All right. Thank you for knocking down those assumptions. We're going to move into the different flavors of ambition, and we're using you as an example. So we're going to go through some different flavors that ambition comes in because you are a little bit of all of this. And if you are, then other people are too. So when it comes to ambition, how do you feel being like quiet, strategic, and high achieving helps you to be ambitious?
Well, I think the quietest people are always the ones having a lot going on in their mind, and I think that gives them more time to plan things out versus, talking and sharing ideas abruptly. Quiet people tend to be more strategic, so I feel like that helps me with being ambitious. Yeah, what was the next one?
High achieving.
Ooh, I think high achieving, like, I don't know, reach for the stars is always like my favorite motto because you know what? Like, there's only more you can achieve. And I don't know, I kind of agree with you in the beginning where you said you don't really celebrate your successes. You're like, check, next thing. I'm the same way. And I think I really want to get better at that because I think sometimes just like looking how far you've come. There's a song by Joshua Bassett I love, and it's literally called Look How Far You've Come. And I think sometimes looking backwards is really the most beautiful thing because you're like, damn, like 2 years ago, I was nowhere near where I am now. And I need to really celebrate that. But I think being high achieving just means that you know you're meant for more. And I think when you know you're meant for more, you're going to be more successful.
I like it. Now, the next set is how does outgoing, being bold, and being daring help you to be ambitious?
Well, I think nothing good stays from being scared. I don't think you can be ambitious and scared. I mean, two things can be true at once, but I think fear can stop you from doing a lot of things. So you need to be bold and also make yourself known. If you want to expand and grow yourself, you need to tell people about your brand, tell people about your books or whatever it might be. I think really we forget that we need to open our mouths and be proud of our accomplishments and the things we create because they'll help people and people will be really interested in them. And as humans, we tend to downgrade our own stuff because it's just us or whatever. And it's like, no, like that idea you created is probably going to be someone's new favorite thing, new favorite book, new favorite clothing item, whatever it might be. So I think you have to be proud of who you are, what you have, what you've created, and be bold, be yourself, make yourself known, walk into a room like you were sent to be in that room, like you own it, and like everyone in there needs to know who you are and why you do what you do. I think same thing, being daring, like take risks. Good things come when you take risks and you put yourself out there. And again, staying stuck doesn't really lead to anything positive. Growth comes from when we're uncomfortable. So that's what I'm going to say there.
And what about how does being creative, experimental, and curious help people to be ambitious?
I think expressing yourself is my favorite thing as a human, and I think we can do that in a lot of forms, but it's trial and error. If you want to create something and then you create it and you don't like the way it looks, that's okay. You're experimenting and you're realizing, okay, new draft, that's not what I want to put out into the world, but I think you have to sometimes put your ideas onto paper to really, one, see that they're possible and it's not just this thing that you're thinking about at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. But also know like you're gonna mess up. And a lot of the best entrepreneurs and successful people have messed up. And a lot of them, like Walt Disney, all these amazing people, I could go on a list. I'm going to make a post about this. They didn't even start until they were in their 50s and really later in life. And I think that really shows you, like, especially if you're young, again, like you have more time to experiment and see what you like and see what you don't like. But being creative is kind of like trial and error, and it's beautiful creating your own canvas every single day and realizing, like, just because something went wrong doesn't mean it's not going to go right, but you have to get through the wrongs to find the right thing.
Beautifully said. As always, I always tell you, you just know how to say everything. And then the last piece here that we're going to discuss, which I feel like is related to what you were mentioning before, or things that we've talked about when it comes to especially social media, but at the same time, running your own business and creating a lot from scratch. So the idea of being resilient, patient, and persistent.
I put the R in resilience, literally. But I think, again, like, and I'm laughing because I needed to hear what I'm saying, like, right now last night. But I think, like, again, nothing good comes easy. And if you go into something thinking it's going to be a happy day every single day, that's not how it works. I am still, again, the little 19-year-old is showing, but I still get in my own head and I sometimes care about what people think. And I need to really put my business girly hat on and just realize, okay, if someone doesn't like me, if someone doesn't want to support what I'm doing, they're not my audience, and that's okay. If they want to leave, unfollow, whatever, good. It's making space for someone more aligned. But I think resilience is important because when you're in this industry, even if you're a baddie and you don't care what people think, you are gonna care what people think sometimes, unless you're Annie. No, I'm kidding. You're just a baddie. Like, I don't know how you do it. I need to embrace my inner Annie. But you are gonna care what people think, and you're gonna cry, and you're gonna want to eat Ben and Jerry's on the floor and be upset. And the resilience is what will pick you back up because you need to remember your why and why you do this, and then you'll do it again tomorrow and again and eat ice cream and then do it again. But the resilience is what gets you on your hard days, gets you back up, and reminds you why you do this. So it's important to remember that.
That's beautifully said, as always. And yes, I mean, I think let's just discuss for a minute that I went through some serious shit. Um, Probably I would say, like, for my whole 20s, like, it was just not okay. Relationships, working, just a lot of different aspects of my life were a shit show. And in the moment, I didn't know that they were. So you compliment me for being a baddie in my I don't really give a fuck attitude. And a lot of it, truly, you mentioned before about experience, a lot of it just comes from experiences that I've been through that have kind of shaped who I am today. And I don't wish those experiences on anyone, but at the end of the day, I don't know that I would be as successful as I am right now running my own businesses if I didn't go through all of that. So I feel like that's that bittersweet part about being ambitious is yes, you're going to have a lot of failure, most likely. You're going to hit a lot of roadblocks, but it's because you're trying. And I think that that's maybe some of the pieces that people forget in the midst of these journeys of being someone who's ambitious. Like, yes, you're probably going to hit more roadblocks than someone who's not trying because they're not trying.
Exactly.
And I think that maybe that's something that people don't realize is when you are ambitious, yeah, you're going to learn how to handle things that maybe other people don't know how to handle because they're not you and they haven't gone through it themselves. So I think that surrounding yourself with other ambitious people is also helpful too. Kind of curating your circle of people, not in like a way that's like strictly strategic and just using them, right? That's not cool. But kind of putting yourself at a table and building a table for yourself with people who are going to not share the same vision because we are not in the same field whatsoever, but we can still find all of these pieces that manage to motivate each other or to help each other take the next step towards what our goal is. So I think it's just about building a table that shares the same values, shares the same goals in the sense of like, let's go get it kind of thing. Because I do believe from being in situations when you have people sitting next to you who don't really care if they go after something or not. It's not really the best scenario for an ambitious person to be sitting next to those people.
I agree, and I think that will hinder their ambition because they're not in a space that mirrors back to them what they need. And I think that's why I'm grateful for you and your friendship because, like, if it wasn't for you, I would be upset about every unfollower on Instagram and every little thing going wrong. And you just remind me of, like, you know what? You can't let that define you and stop you. You know why you do what you do. And I'm still in the early phases, but the people that are leaving and unfollowing are probably not doing anything similar and they don't know my full story and know why I do what I do. Maybe they're annoyed with the fact I post or I'm trying to promote myself. And you know what? That's because they're not doing the same thing. So you got to align yourself with the right people. I agree 1,000%.
And I do think that it's tricky sometimes to find the right group of people too. And, you know, It can take some time, and that's okay. I think that there are a lot of people who do end up kind of going through a part of their journey alone. I did because I had to completely redo my circle at one point, and now my circle is still teeny tiny, but we are kind of getting back into the flow, and you know that I'm getting back into the flow of some things that I thought I said goodbye to, but I'm back again. And I just think that it's important to know that you're not alone on this journey.
I agree, and I'm really grateful for you, and I think we met for a reason because you were such a positive mirror in person for me, especially while I'm doing this at freaking 19, because, whew, it's not for the weak.
No, absolutely not. If we can discuss some of we're going to do like celebrity role models. They can be
Ooh,
authors, obviously, whoever you look up to. So let's go through some of the people that you feel help you to keep going on your journey.
I love Alex Earl so much. I just think she is so resilient, really badass, very authentic, very like big into having like ambitious things come to life, I guess. I know she just released her new brand, and through the midst of this, something I love about her is she's like talking about her breakup and posting herself crying. And I just love women that are also vulnerable and authentic because I think that's what I'm trying to come across with my social media. Like, it's okay to talk about hard shit and be a baddie business girly, but also like share that it's not easy all the time and you are a human. I love Sabrina Carpenter. I think, again, she's someone who hasn't always had it easy and she just keeps going. And even when she wasn't big with music, she was still promoting and doing what she does and writing music. And I just think that's absolutely incredible to just keep going. And then guess what happened? She hit it big. So you just got to keep going because if you don't, you'll never know. I love Taylor Swift. I think she's extremely resilient as well. She's faced some really unfortunate situations that we all can hear through her music. And I think she's just ambitious and amazing and high achieving. And I don't know how she does it. I know she's tired. Taylor, if you're listening, I hope you are. Imagine. Are you tired, girl? Like, what are you doing? But I love Taylor. I think she's extremely ambitious and she's proof that ambition pays off. Who else do I love? I love honestly, I just like I'll like go on people's TikToks when I'm like having a down moment and I'm like, what would these people do? Like, what would all the little like influencer girlies that I love and adore and grew up watching, like what would they do? I love this girl named Sydney Serena on YouTube. I think she's absolutely incredible. She's also like on the younger side, so I think that's why I relate to her. I grew up watching like her vlogs and all of that, but I think she's ambitious too. Like just being able to be a successful YouTuber at her age of like 22, I think, or no, 25, is amazing because again, like she started doing that when she was really young, and if she let people saying, "Oh, you're young, why are you doing this?" stop her, she wouldn't be where she is today. Now she's like a jewelry company and she's absolutely incredible. So I think like again, like, and you as well, and the people in my space, Maddie, you, and all the other like content creator girlies and just business girlies on Instagram, like they remind me like who I am and who I can be and why I do what I do. Because if I give up, I one would have never met you, Annie, or created everything I've created, because if you let the self-doubt get to you, you're not going to get anywhere. But also like on my hard days, I'm like Maddie is going with her hot sauce and Annie is going with her content and her businesses, like, you know what I mean? And I think that's the motivation that I need. It's cool to be surrounded by other cool, amazing, successful, ambitious people.
It is. And I think that that's true for whether you do actually know them. There are people maybe that you met on social media or even celebrities that you can look up to. Because, yeah, if you're having a day, you can look up videos and kind of find some different maybe interviews where they talk about being ambitious or success and things like that, or just going on their page and kind of soaking in their vibe. But again, today's episode, I think one thing that I really wanted to get across, which I think we have definitely managed, is that you can be polar opposites and still be ambitious.
Those are the best people too, like, because you've taught me so much and I feel like I've taught you something as well, like, and that's what's really cool because if you were the same, what are you going to learn from that person, you know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. I
Or
think embracing your differences is a beautiful thing and learning from each other. Like you named all of those people for who you look up to. My list would be nowhere near what Ryland's list is. Like I'm going with Tom Brady, like Mark Cuban, Emma Greedy. Like these are all completely different people. And again, there's no right or wrong because everyone that she named is amazing too. So no matter where you feel that you fit in being ambitious, whether you're quiet and ambitious, maybe you're an extrovert and you're more outgoing and ambitious, everybody can be different but still go after what they want.
exactly, and being different's cool.
It's true. It really is because I've said for a long time, when I was in the wrong circle, I openly said to people, like, I don't fit in. Like, this is not somewhere where I fit in, and I don't know how I could ever fit in here. And my coaches knew that, people knew that, like, that was something and how I felt. And eventually I made the decision to leave because it wasn't the right circle for me. And honestly, that was one of the best decisions I ever made.
I love that. You gotta listen to your gut sometimes.
hmm And I think the same goes for social media as well. Curate who you follow because what you take in also can lead into, your ambition or lack thereof. So I do think we have to acknowledge, in the days of social media, your circle can extend to the information that you're taking in online because a lot of times when we're scrolling, I don't think we realize sometimes how much we're actually taking in.
This is true. This is very true. And I think like again, like it goes back to like there's so many people that are like follow for follow and I'm like, do I want to follow this person whose energy is completely different from mine just to have a follower? Or do I want to wait for my audience to come find me? Because again, it's not only like, oh, it's cool the number went up. It's what energy am I accepting into my space?
Yes. I love that. Well, Rylan, as always, it has been so much fun talking with you. And
Oh,
I'm really excited that if people didn't know you yet, that they get to know a little bit more about you and your history. And to everyone knowing that I feel weird saying history because you're only 19, but I feel like you have so much history
I've
and you
lived
have
like
so
7
much
lives.
time to go. So before we say goodbye, let everyone know where they can find you.
I literally feel like I've lived like 9 lives like a little cat, but you can find me on Instagram. My author slash personal account is Rylin, RYLIN, ROSEE, and then all things wellness and my podcast, Take Care Your Body by Rye. It's Take Care by RY on Instagram, and the podcast is streaming on all platforms. And if you're interested about my books, the links are in both my Instagram accounts, but you can also just search Rylin Rossano on Amazon.
Amazing. Thank you, Rylan.
Thank you for having me. I've loved sharing this topic that I've been holding on to for 19 years.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of She's Probably Talking to Other Guys. Ambition isn't one size fits all. Rylan proves that quiet, strategic, and focused ambition can move mountains. Your flavor of ambition is valid, powerful, and rare. Own it, protect it, and celebrate it. And remember, assumptions are not evidence. Your ambition is your truth. Own it unapologetically. Follow along on Instagram at spttog podcast. You can also tune in on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Video episodes are available on Spotify and YouTube.